What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Marriage Anonymous. First off, thank you for submitting topics. Me and Shay had a great time talking about spirituality and faith in this episode. It was a great conversation, and yeah, we just loved it. If you guys could do us a solid and hit the follow or subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to, it would really help us out. It helps the podcast get out there, and it gives us motivation. So if you've already done it, thank you very much. If you haven't, please hit that button. If you guys have any topics you want us to talk about, any questions, anything at all, hit the link in the description, go to the Ask Questions Here tab, and you can submit it there. As always, thanks for listening, and we hope you all have a great day. Okay, what's the question? I forgot already. Something about
asked if we could talk more about
spiritualness, spirituality.
Can you share more faith and spirituality conversation? I was thinking that I could talk about kind of my stuff because I haven't talked about it at all.
Talk about what?
My stuff.
What stuff?
I guess you'll find out.
Hit me with it.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh, I said you have to say something to me. Oh my gosh.
We're recording.
Yeah. So, you said you're doing this as a 2 episode this week?
Yeah, I just literally put out the episode like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, you're not waiting until Tuesday.
No, I'm putting this one out on Tuesday. This is coming out on Tuesday. So if you're listening to this, it's Tuesday.
Gotcha.
Or it's after Tuesday at this point.
But there was an episode that came out on Saturday.
Yes.
Which is today.
Which people won't probably hear it until whenever they hear it.
Anyways.
It's 9:30 on a Saturday, so people won't.
It does. I'm just kind of they don't need to.
Like Sunday, maybe.
Okay.
Or they probably won't listen to it on the weekend. They'll probably listen to it on like Monday on the way to work or something. Or maybe even Tuesday. It just depends on whenever they feel like listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was just saying that.
Could be like Friday. Could be as late as Friday. I'm done. I'll stop.
I was doing it for like my own thing, so thinking like we don't need to do like a whole another beginning thing.
Yeah, so this is coming out on Tuesday. Tuesday for sure.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. So
but I'll upload it on Monday and then schedule it to come out on Tuesday. All right. I'm seriously done. I'll be done. I'm not going to make another joke. You may talk now.
So we had said that we were responding to questions that we had gotten in on the Google Doc, and this last one was going to be a longer one, so we decided to do a whole nother episode just talking about this one. Just a little backstory for the peeps if you hadn't listened to that one before. Go back. I think I haven't listened to it yet, but I mean, we just did it last night, and I think it was probably a pretty good episode. Charles doesn't agree.
I did not want to put that thing out.
I was wondering when you said that you were editing it and stuff today. I was thinking, like, how was that for you to like go back and listen to it?
Like anytime I listen to myself, it's extremely painful.
Why?
It makes my ears hurt.
Well, elaborate.
Especially like talking about dark stuff. Like pretty much all of my feelings are dark. So like talking about my feelings is really hard to listen to.
Yeah. Did you make you think anymore?
Yeah, I still feel it. We're not talking about that. We're talking about.
Well, I'm just curious. So again, let's give some full disclosure here, and then we'll get into it. Is we basically spent the entire day mad at each other and not talking, and so it was we went from that, and then we went to bed, so we didn't really talk about anything, and then woke up. Not a good day. It ended well. We ended up
No, about midday.
It was about 3:00.
Yeah, midday. Turned around.
But like, so where was I going with this? I was just curious with you down here while we're like fighting, and
Yeah,
you're
and
listening to this.
I'm like, I'm still an asshole.
Because like that's all I was thinking about was like literally what we talked about last night, and now this is happening.
So before we get into the spiritual stuff, with me not being able to process my feelings and talk, I do know that me and you have made improvements
In our marriage in general.
just in the way we communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Because not too long ago, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, this morning would have freaking spiraled into me punching a hole in the wall or throwing something down here, and it didn't. So I know I'm making progress.
Do you feel like it was like that because the girls were there?
No. When I get pissed off, I don't care who's there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really weird being mad at you and then being down here editing a video
Talking about how much you love
talking about how much I love you, and I'm like, I still love her,
me.
but she is being a real pain in my ass right now.
You're being a big pain in my ass.
Yeah.
Major.
Okay, what's your stuff?
Well, no. So the question is, they're asking if
Hold on a minute. Was that your stuff?
No.
What are we doing here?
The question.
Okay.
The question was asked if we could share more of our faith and spirituality conversations. Just have more of those in general. And so, I was just thinking about it. I didn't know if you really had anything that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I figured too. Like, I didn't want. Like, we've mentioned a lot and talked about, you, and we did a whole episode about your faith crisis and all that kind of stuff. But, like, I've never really talked about, I wouldn't say that I had a faith crisis, but for the first time in my life, it was last summer. Was it last summer or 2 summers ago? Time makes no sense in my brain. I honestly can't remember. I went through just a lot of questions of the church basically, and like my place in it and what I truly believed in, what I wanted to be a part of. And it was like the first time that I like felt severe conflict about it.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember how that went down.
But the thing that was weird, and I don't know why, but like it wasn't something that I really talked to you about. Like, I didn't feel like, I mean, we talked a little bit, like, yeah, like I think you knew like that it was happening and whatever. But I don't know. I just didn't feel like I could talk to you
So
about it.
this is your story.
Yeah.
But what I saw happening, and I could be wrong, was you were more having problems with some of the stuff in the church.
Yeah.
It wasn't like oh, is God real?
No, it was nothing to do with that.
It was like
strictly just
some
the
stuff
church.
with the church, and you were like, I don't necessarily know if I agree with this, but I guess that's kind of like what I.
So what it was, what it was I had newly made some friendships in the neighborhood and with some of the girls in the ward.
That's
And
right. I
we'd
remember
like
this.
we would go on walks every morning, and we just like started talking a lot about the church and like different things. Like we're all members and stuff. One of them, she's a convert, and me and this other girl, born and raised in our entire lives. And it just like just the like they weren't bad conversations, they were really great conversations, but I just slowly, like every conversation, I just started more and more, that combined with, I feel like at that time, for whatever reason, I was seeing just a lot of stuff on social media about the church, and it wasn't like negative anti stuff, but more so about people. One, it was like ton of people just leaving the church, and then two, people who were not leaving the church
But speaking out.
but like, yeah, being
Yeah.
like, this is, I think this is stupid. Okay, so the term that I had never heard, and it just like just flooded, I feel like, my life, was I almost said the banquet, that's not the word, the buffet. People like we're talking about like being a buffet member, where
Pick and choose.
yes, the church is a buffet,
I
and
think it's great.
you get to just choose what you want to believe
That's
in
how
and
it
what
should
you
be.
want to partake in and what you want to think. And so it started like the conversations we were having, and then hearing people say all this stuff, and I started to realize what it means to be brought up, I think, in any religion or any kind of thing, and not know anything else. And then I started to question everything of like, what do I even know? Because this was just
It's
like
scary, huh?
who I am.
It's freaking scary.
Yeah. But it wasn't like I ever had a feeling of I wanted to leave or I didn't like it.
But you can't tell me for a second you were like, I don't know about this.
Yeah. But
And that's a scary thing.
it is
When you have been brought up your whole life in one thing, and then you're like, for that split second, you're like, this could all be bullshit.
And I didn't have the feeling of like I thought it was bullshit, but it was just like, so the odds of anyone from my family, especially my parents, ever hearing this are very rare, but this is no shade to my parents in the way I was raised. But both of our mothers specifically, I would say, are in like the generation of the church, the time of the church, of just like
Hardcore.
That was gonna be my exact words. Just very much so. Again, I'm gonna say these terms and stuff, and I don't mean this as, I don't want anyone to get the idea that like our moms are bad people or like
No,
psychos
hell
or
no.
anything, but like very fear based. Like, I was taught a lot growing up. If you do this, like, you can't be with your family forever, and like making it so like every decision was just like, oh my gosh, like, just
So good.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just weighed on me so much of the fear of doing anything wrong, of that, like, what is going to happen to me when I die?
Do you want one of these?
No, I'm okay. I have my regular
They're
water.
so good.
For people not watching, Charles got a bunch of the new Liquid Death flavors.
Yeah, Shay has been. You want to talk about throwing shade?
What?
Like, you're an old man. You drink just sparkling water.
Anyways, and so it just started to like make me spiral in trying to be like, okay, I don't really know how I feel about all of this. And I think like ultimately, in the end, like, it still comes to my mind all the time. So, okay, like another thing in the church that a lot of people in that generation talk about, and like we've had lessons and people talk to us about it, us meaning you and I, like about all this stuff about how hard it is, and just, it's just like there's always this thing of the church saying that like nobody can be perfect, but feeling like you have to be perfect.
Hold on a
And
minute. Like the church says, or that's like the culture.
well, no, but I was both. The church says, like no, Christ, Jesus was the only person who
Yeah.
could achieve perfection. Like no one could ever be perfect. Everybody has, whatever. But then it feels like if you're not perfect, you're not gonna make it. Maybe that's just a feeling that I have or whatever. But basically, after all these things,
I don't have that.
okay, well what I'm saying is now after like going for it was probably about a year that I mean, it consumed me. It was
Yeah.
like all I thought about, and I ultimately just got to a point where I was like, "You know what? I don't think it's really that hard." I don't a lot like you talked about, like I don't think God is going to keep me away from all these things. I do still firmly believe that if you are partaking in the church and you are on that boat and you're believing that, then you have to believe in the quote unquote rules of the church. And that's where I'm still like in this sketchy place
I
of
don't.
like, that's fine. I'm talking about me. I'm saying like
You're saying that you have to believe.
that, like there will be rules, quote unquote rules, things that you do have to do or abide by. I don't know if I necessarily like that's what it's so hard, especially like when I start saying stuff out loud. Like I get why people think that Mormons are crazy when we start talking about what we believe, excuse me, like the afterlife to be and the 3 degrees of glory and all these things and stuff. It's like, okay, well then there's got to be, some cutoff points and some things that are going to happen. And so, do I think that okay, I'm kind of all over the place.
This is a much harder thing for you to talk about than it is for me.
Yeah, it is
Because
because
you and me are still not on the same page with this.
no, we're not. And I don't think like one, I don't think that people go to hell, and the church basically teaches that you don't go to hell unless you is the word denounce Christ.
First of all, your microphone is not in front of your mouth.
Yes, it is.
You're talking like this.
No, I'm not. It's 100% in front of my mouth.
Okay.
I promise.
Not from the way I'm looking at it.
Well, yours isn't either.
Second of all, it's deny.
Deny Christ.
And there's only a couple people on the planet that can do that.
So yeah, I mean, it's not like I believe that anyone's going to go to hell or that I would go to hell or whatever.
So the church says.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Is what you believe in, if you believe in the church and what they say.
Dude, that should be a major selling point. Like right there.
I
that
know.
should that should be on like our business cards.
No.
Like if LDS people had business cards, it should be like, you're definitely not going to hell.
Yeah.
Welcome
No
to the
one's
church.
going to hell.
Welcome to the church. You're not going to hell.
Yeah. And so that was like a big point.
Like, no matter what, you're not going to hell.
So kind of sliding back into like when you were leaving and still hadn't like come back and whatever, that's what was like my comfort is
my husband's not going to hell.
no, but that kind of like my thing that I always thought about was that no matter what happens, we will be happy. Uh-oh. Let me try. Let me try. What was that one?
Convicted melon.
Let me see.
And the only place this it should be served is in a prison.
Let me taste
This
it.
is disgusting.
We're getting clear off of track.
This table's too big. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that tastes like cucumber. That doesn't taste like melon.
That is probably the most disgusting thing I've ever put.
Yeah, it tastes
I'm
like
sticking with the
cucumbers.
severed lime.
Carbonated water, agave.
I'm pretty sure
Listen!
it's in there for sure.
Citric acid, natural flavor, which is watermelon, paprika, and lime. That's what the cucumber is, the paprika. And smelling it, that's because do you know what paprika is? No, you
No.
don't, because you know to cook. Paprika, you know it's a spice.
Yeah.
It's dried bell pepper. That's like now that I said bell pepper, drink that.
I am not
Just do it.
frigging no.
Charles, quit being a dummy. Now that I've said bell pepper.
Tastes like dust. Like-
A dusty grandma.
Like, yeah, if you went into like some old person's house, you know how like old people have a back room that they haven't been in since 1970,
Sure.
and then you just like walk in there and you just
Okay.
went like that.
All right. Back on topic.
Sorry.
I was saying that at the time it was become very much so that I felt at peace with our relationship, whatever's going to happen, because I always knew, you know, they always said that no matter where you go after when you die, you will never be somewhere where A, you are uncomfortable, or B, you are unhappy.
Yeah, where you don't want to be.
Yeah. Like you're going to be where you want to be. And so, and to me, I always said, I'm not going to be happy or comfortable if I'm not with you.
Oh.
And I just remember, I mean, there was several people that then had conversations about was like, well, but you can't be with him if you're not sealed, so it doesn't matter. And I was just like, I'm not worried about it.
No.
I'm not
They
worried
don't
about.
No.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I just know I'll be happy.
If one of you people are the ones that said that, you don't know.
But anyways, so like that's where I was at. And then after I went through all of this, then like my new thing was it is not as hard as everybody wants to try it. I think, you know, people in the church, you hear all the time. I haven't actually heard it lately, but I used to hear it all the time. They would say that like not very many people are going to make it because it's really hard and all this stuff. And I was like, you know what? And I don't know what making it means, if they mean to the celestial kingdom or what, because I mean, there's no hell. So to me, I don't think any of it's bad, but you know, but hold on, let me finish. So I started thinking, you know, nobody knows for sure, but in my heart, I think there's going to be very few people that don't make it. I think it's going to be pretty easy.
I think there's going to be like when we're all up there, I think there's going to be a lot of people that were like, I was way off.
But I don't know if that's, because I don't think that like guilt or anything like that is going to be like a feeling. I think it's just going to be like, oh, everyone's just going to just be like, oh, well. Like kind of side note.
Sidebar.
Me and my mom were talking about some family stuff. And I have to be very careful with how I
How about you
have this
don't then?
No, I want to just because I want to have this. It pertains to what we were saying, basically, of something that happened to a family member, and well, we were talking about that. But we were also talking about this part I talked about. My mom was talking about my grandparents, my mom's parents were both killed in a car crash, together, And so she had the same feeling. Like, for that, it's like you have so many questions when someone dies, right? Um, Depending on how they die. So look, who I'm talking about. I don't have to say it. And it's like, because we were talking about how there's just so many things I want to ask them that I just will never know. And so we were talking about, and she's saying, I don't think it's going to be like we're going to get up there and have a conversation and like sit down and ask him all these questions. Like, I think we're just going to know. Like, we're just going to get up there and it's going to be like, oh, like, we're not going to have to sit around and ask all these questions. Like, it's just going to be, it's just going to know. Does that make sense? It made a lot of sense when we were talking. That it's like,
Who knows?
no, that's the thing, is who the heck knows what's gonna happen? And like you say all the time, like, I mean, who knows if what even we believe is really how it is.
I don't know. It just bugs. I shouldn't. How do I phrase this to take it from my brain and then have it make sense when I say it?
No, that's a struggle for me.
Because I would say it bugs me when people do this, but it doesn't bug me. I'm just, because I don't lose sleep over it. Excuse me. Damn.
Carbonated water.
Yeah. Woo. With paprika. When people say stuff as fact, I'm just like, you don't know. You have no idea.
Well, most of the time,
And
I don't think people say it as fact.
It like, air quotes, bugs me, but I'm like, why? You're sure? You're sure about that?
You sure about that?
You sure about that? I don't understand it. I don't think we can understand.
So what I think,
I don't think we're meant to understand. If we knew like what was going to happen, what was the point?
oh goodness, there's gonna be a lot of yawns. I think that like people that we know in our lives, say our mothers. I think that's who we're both kind of talking about.
No, I'm not talking about my mom. I'm talking about everybody.
Okay, well, I was talking about people like that. I think it comes from people who are very intent on praying a lot, going to the temple, doing a lot of things, and they get that feeling in their heart and they say, I really truly believe this to be true, which I don't think you can take that away from anyone.
I can't dispute it. No.
So I don't think they're saying it as fact, but it's just what they truly believe.
Then I can say I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I don't believe,
for sure.
I don't believe in a God that would do that.
Yeah.
I've said it many times that like if God is like this mean, like angry,
and I don't think I
have
met anyone in the church who thinks that that's the truth.
Mm-mm. But there are a lot of people that do.
In the church?
I'm sure.
I don't know. If there is, I've never met anybody.
I do not believe for 1 second in a God that rules by fear. Not for a second.
And again, I often think about, like, because you would talk quite frequently about how the church fearmongers.
100.
But again,
100%.
But that's what I'm saying is I think that's your perception of it. There are things that I understand, but I don't think that the church is going out of their way to try to purposefully scare us.
Okay. The church does.
I know what you're saying. We've had the conversation plenty of times.
It is pay to play. 1,000,000,000% pay to play.
But
nope, no but.
No, but I'm saying, but that's the way that I see it is not, that's not them scaring you.
It is follow our rules. or you will not be with your family
Well,
forever.
I know. So that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning of what's like this hard thing of, I think if you're believing in the church and believing in the 3 degrees of glory and all this stuff, whatever, that yes, there are things that you're going to
don't.
have to follow. So what you're saying is you don't believe that there's 3 degrees. You just believe we're all just going to make it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's fair. That's what I'm saying. That's this conversation is,
I do not believe in that God. And if that's the way God is, I don't want to be there.
I know.
Like, send me out over there. I'll go do my own thing.
Even after getting sealed and doing everything and whatever, and it won't matter anyways.
I don't believe in that God. I believe in the God that wants us to be together forever.
So, okay, so then I guess I'm asking you is then what does that mean if you, and I know how your thought process was of us getting sealed, but say you full-heartedly believe in us getting sealed to be together forever. If there's not, because us being sealed together forever is to be sealed in the celestial kingdom.
Okay.
And so if you don't believe and that's a thing, then what are we getting sealed forever for? Do you understand my question? Am I making? I might not be making it.
I made a bet with Lane before he died that if he would send me signs, I would go
I know
and get
that,
sealed in the temple.
but I guess I'm saying, so what does that
So he
mean
did.
to you?
He did. And so I followed up on my end of the bargain, and I feel good about it. That is why we got sealed in the
So
temple.
you're saying that you don't know,
I
like you don't have
no
any
idea.
feeling
It
of
might
what
have
that
just
means.
been me covering my ass. I have no idea.
Well, I know that. That's what I'm saying. I know that that's you've said that. It's just covering for what might be. But I guess what I'm saying is if you don't believe that there's a separation,
No, I don't.
then what is the purpose of a sealing? Or you're just saying you don't know.
I have no idea.
You just did it just in case of anything.
I did it because I was told to do it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, which is why, I mean, a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
I had extremely spiritual experiences leading up to that made me feel great about it.
Mm-hmm.
It was an amazing day. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. Don't regret it for a second. I made the right choice for me.
Yeah.
The church, religion, spirituality is not for everybody.
No.
No, it's not. There's some people that have been like just kicked in the nutsack by life, and they don't believe in it, and they'll never believe in it, and that's fine.
For sure.
I feel bad for them. I don't want to see anybody get kicked in the nutsack.
Yeah. That's another part through like my process of it was I had to take a lot of my feelings out of like the church organization perspective of it all.
It's a lot easier when you do that.
But it's super hard for me to do that. I still to this day really struggle with like guilt of like if I don't go to church every Sunday or if I'm not doing X, Y, and Z for the church. Like I keep saying my goal has been to just like learn Christ. And cuz so like kind of getting back to it, like I said with those friends of mine, the one being a convert, I told her one day it was just her and I think I told you this already, is like, I wish I was a convert because I feel like you have to actually find out and decide if you want to be a part of it as opposed to being born and raised into it. It was like I never questioned it. I was just told this is what I do. I didn't know anything different. And now that I've gotten older, it's like I'm realizing I've never actually had a testimony of it because I've never had to really do that. And then when I get really honest about it, I'm like, I don't know how to do that.
So
So going
Why do
back
you-
to finish my thought is like, I just really am like, I just want to like take focus away from just like the church
yeah,
and like learn Christ's life. Just like we talked about in the episode last night, when it comes to like history, anything like that, I feel the same way about like scripture, doctrine, stuff like that. Like, I don't know any of it. I couldn't give you like a real timeline of Christ's life, things like that. And I want to learn more like
why are
that.
you gonna read a book?
I didn't say I was going to
Why
read
are
a
you
book.
gonna read a book about it instead of just asking him?
I didn't say I was going to read a book.
You said you
I
like
said I
scripture
want
and
to
stuff.
know him.
Yeah. Talk to him then.
No, though that's part of it, but I mean I want to understand more of, not that the church doesn't, so for people who aren't members of the church, yearly we like rotate through doctrine. And so like I don't even know what this year is. I think we're in the Old Testament.
I have no idea.
I think I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure we're studying Old Testament this year. And then, we cycle through and whatever. But yeah, like
I go to church every 6 weeks. I have no idea what's going on
we'll have to pay attention tomorrow.
there. Okay.
Because tomorrow
I'm downsies.
we have a gospel doctrine.
Sweet.
It's not Elders Quorum and Relief Society.
You're talking about like being a convert. That's how I feel
Yeah.
now. Is I feel like.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like you basically were.
So first of all, I'll sit here and I'll talk a whole bunch of shit about the church, about how like they're fear mongering and like it's pay to play and all that stuff. But I am stoked to go to church on Sunday.
Are you?
I am.
Yeah.
I get excited. Like I make it a priority to go to church on Sunday when I'm home.
Yeah.
When I don't have to work on Sunday, it's a priority for me to go to church. Not because I'm afraid of anything. It's because I want to be there.
Yeah.
Which is the craziest thing for me to come out of my mouth.
Because, I mean, I used to dread anytime you would come to church.
Friggin' church
you
used to
would
give me
be-
a rash. And you know
You
what?
would be in the worst mood
It
after.
still gives me a rash sometimes.
We have an amazing ward,
We do.
and I think that's a big reason why
It's not as good as the one I grew up in. That one is going to be...
Everyone says that because I'm the same way. Like, nothing compares to your
No,
home ward.
your home
when-
ward sucked ass compared to mine.
No.
Guaranteed.
No, I love you. I feel like I can't say his name. The guy who married us.
Yeah. Nice guy.
Such the best bishop. Loved him.
Okay, I take... He could hang out with us at my home ward for sure. Like we would adopt him. We would adopt him into our ward when
His
I was
whole
growing up.
family, his wife. Oh my gosh, me and my mom like have a crush on her, and we talk about her like every time we
Yeah.
talk on the phone. Oh, I love them.
So, faith
Yeah.
is something I am just
Faith
finding.
is like a little seed.
I don't remember that.
You don't
one.
remember that primary song?
That was a long time ago. Faith is like really hard.
It's the hardest thing.
I didn't even know I had it until somebody told me. I was sitting there talking to one of my good buddies, talking about the church.
What is this? I don't know.
Huh?
What was this? I don't know what you're talking about.
It was our bishop.
Okay, you could have said that. You said a good buddy. I thought you were like Tyler or something.
No, he's my good buddy. But I was sitting there talking to him, and I was like, I don't understand this. I don't know if I'll ever understand it. My brain doesn't understand it. but I feel good about it. So I'm going to do it anyway. And he goes, you know what that's called? And I said, like being a sheep? I don't know. And he goes, no, that's faith.
Yeah.
I still don't. My brain tells me no. But my body.
I was going to do it. I'm glad you
My
did.
body's telling me yes.
Seriously gonna do it, but I didn't feel like I could. I'd already just sang. I didn't want to embarrass myself again.
Shite. Now I'm embarrassed.
No.
You know, but you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
and that was the thing with me. I'm sure we've touched on it before. Is I don't do gray areas, and that's what faith is. In religion
100%.
is a gray area. Like, I'm sure that if I got into it, like, I'm sure, like, maybe one day, if people actually listen to this, people will start, like, picking apart everything I say and whatever. And I will never care.
Yeah.
I do not give a single
Yeah.
about what anybody else has to say.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to attack me on my beliefs, that's all you're going to hear me say is, I don't give a
Yeah. As it should be.
because it's hard, man. Like, this is defending being a Christian is really hard.
Especially, I feel like nowadays it's like really not cool.
Defending being a Mormon is way hard.
Like I said in the past, like why was when we first started this back up again, and I said that like I wanted to talk about it.
What did I just do? Touch my Xbox remote.
Was it still recording?
Yeah, the friggin' controller's on.
I said that I wanted to like talk about this and like have discussions about it because like I want, like you said, it's super hard to like defend it or whatever. But at the same time, I think it's because so many people think things that just are flat out not true.
Well, first of all,
Like,
nothing you or me say on this podcast is going to change anybody's
No.
mind.
no, but I think that it could be interesting to people if they actually like. I think it would be super interesting for people who are not members and like haven't grown up around it, like don't really know anybody who is, and just think that we're all polygamists.
Do you know how many people think we are polygamous?
Yes, I do. That's what I mean. Is it's like it's
Even
No.
other Mormons in other states thinks that people in Utah are polygamous.
Really?
So, story time. We went to scout camp. I was like 13 or something, and we went to scout camp down in Moab.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another scout troop, Mormon scout troop, from another state. I think they were from like Arizona or Colorado or Nevada. It was one of the states around us.
Mm-hmm.
Was at this scout camp. And we had them convinced that we were polygamists.
Okay, so I don't.
Like from whatever that is, Colorado City. Is it Colorado City that's where like Warren Jeffs?
No, they're just down. They're in Utah.
But it's called Colorado City.
Oh no, it's not called Colorado City. It's called. I just watched the documentary on it. It's not Colorado City. I can't.
Anyway, it's one of those.
Whatever.
But yeah, we had him. We told him that our scout leaders were our brothers. Like they were our older brothers. That a freaking convinced.
Okay, so back to your thing. Like, I don't think people in the faith actually think that. Like out-of-staters think that we're polygamous here. You as young boys.
No, we had the adults
create.
believe in it too.
Wow. Okay, that was like one thing. I don't think that's a common thing that people think. But I don't know if they do. Anyways, but there's just so many things that I'm like, you know what? We're really not that different from a lot of Christian faiths. We're not that weird.
We're pretty weird.
We just wear different underwear.
No, we're pretty weird. Yeah.
Which, hey, update. Loving the underwear, aren't you?
The best.
You said you did.
I'd never have said I love these.
Then you found the ones that you liked.
found
You're
some-
like, these are just like my boxers. This is the best thing ever. I could wear these forever.
Yeah.
Those were the words that came out of your mouth. Can't take it
They're
back
still
now.
pretty. They're still pretty hot during. These are not like my boxers.
I would think they'd be better.
They're not.
Your boxers, because at least these are like some cotton and they can breathe. Your boxers were straight up just like 100% spandex.
Yeah, and they were great.
That should be hot.
No.
Anyways. But yeah, that's kind of basically like I could go into more depth or whatever, but I don't need to. You said that you had stuff that you were thinking you wanted to talk about. Has it been covered or do you have something else?
No, so like jumping over to like the marriage aspect of it.
Okay.
Being on the same page spiritually and with your faith is probably the most important thing in a marriage. That's what I think.
I agree.
Hands down, in my opinion, in my experience, 100% of our fights when we weren't on the same page was about religion. There was an undertone of it somewhere. If the fight wasn't about religion, it was stemming from hatred that you and me had towards each other. A burning fire inside of both of us that kicked off something else.
You think so?
That was how it was for me.
Hmm.
Like I said before, when you chose to go to the temple without me, that was you choosing a church instead of me. That was you telling me to f*** off.
In your mind.
In my mind. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't mean anything to you, so you can just...
So then
you
you
know,
thought
eat
every
my
time every time we fought,
Every time we fought, that was what I was thinking about.
you were just thinking about that. See, that not for me.
But
I agree in your sentiment of religion being.
and then you bring kids into it. And you were very lucky that I had the attitude that I had, because I don't think very many people have that.
No, 100%. Well, that's the only reason, honestly, like why we stayed together was because you didn't like make it this super negative.
No, with our
thing.
kids.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like if it would have been that
Or our
you know
kid.
you were like told me I couldn't take her to church or you didn't want her to have anything to do with it, like we would have been getting a divorce.
Well, that would have made it worse, because then I would have friggin' fought the absolute out of you.
Well, the thing that would really suck, because then in like the system, you technically get weekends, and so then it'd be like every Sunday she'd be with you.
Would have been a bad decision on your part.
But we always sidetracking. We talked not like we talked about getting a divorce, but we talked about if we were to ever get a divorce, like it would be really hard with your schedule because you don't have weekends
Yeah.
off. So it's like, what do we do? But we're not getting divorced. But if ever that were to happen, I would not be a dick to you and like not let you have the girls. I would just always work with your schedule. I can never see myself being like a petty person like that. I honestly and truly, there's nothing that could happen that would change my mind about it. That I would like want to make you miserable. That's just
First of all, we're just never going to find out.
exactly.
Second of all, you have no idea what you would do.
Well, if you tried to like come at me, well then yeah, sure, but we just mutually agreed to just be decent people to each other.
I'm just glad that we, it all worked out.
Yeah, me too. Let's hope it
I'm glad that
just
it's working
stays
out.
on this track for the rest of our lives.
But yeah, faith, religion, being a spiritual. I am not religious at all.
Yeah. You are spiritual.
Like I just said that I love going to church, but if I never went to church again, I'd be fine.
And that's honestly me too. Like a lot of people, I have a friend who talks about it a lot where they're like, we don't necessarily believe in the church and all of its teachings really anymore, but like we'll never leave the church because we really enjoy the atmosphere in it and the people in it, and we want to raise our kids and whatever. I don't know if I really have that feeling. Like going to church is fine, but it's like the people that I really enjoy and am friends with, I don't even get to like hang out with them at church because
Yeah.
they're all in primary and I'm in Relief Society.
Maybe you should go do primary.
No, gosh, I just don't ever want to
Hold
get
on a
released
second.
from
I gotta blow my nose.
Yeah, I am just so dreading the day I ever get released from my calling because I do not want to do primary. I've done primary before, and I'm sorry. Everybody talks about how they like love primary, the little kids, and they all have such sweet spirits. That's fine, but you and I have been very honest. I don't like kids except our own kids. Like, most of the time, I don't find other kids sweet and cute. I mean, they're fine, but a lot of times I'm just like, oh my gosh, where are your parents?
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with anyone else's kids. And see, that's so talking again. This isn't, we're just having, I guess, conversations, like they said. Like, a lot of people will say, like, the number one thing they don't like about the church or why they don't want to be a member, whatever, is that the church requires so much from people in terms of like callings and things. And sometimes it's hard. Like
You can say no.
Yeah, you totally can. 100. I've said no to many a callings.
Yeah, you totally can say no.
But like my calling and your calling compared to, well, like a bishop. But like I look at my mom. My mom's the Relief Society president in her ward, and oh my, it's like a full-time job. She is constantly every day on the phone, going to people's houses, having to go to different meetings. And
I'm just gonna
like,
straight up
oh
admit that
gosh.
they're better people than me. I'm not doing it.
I could not do it. Like, I feel so bad. So my mom at least is like old and retired and stuff and whatever and has the time to do that. But like our Relief Society president in our ward, she's my age. She is pregnant with her third child. Her two girls are like really young. I think they're not even Binley's age. They're like 2 and whatever. It doesn't matter. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. How?
Well, hold on a minute. Like your parents' ward is kind of like an older ward.
Yeah.
Our ward is very young.
Yes, it is. That's what I'm saying.
So that's kind of just how it's going to go.
But it just would be so hard. I could not.
Don't get me wrong. There is a lot of people. in the church culture.
Yeah, for sure. But there's shitty people everywhere.
Yeah.
The church doesn't make
But
you
like
unshitty.
shitty people, especially when it comes to like religion, that really can rub people the wrong way.
I don't understand.
Because when somebody says I'm better than you because, God, that's like God, me and God are like telling you you're a piece of shit
Yeah.
instead of just I'm telling you you're a piece of shit.
No.
That can be very off-putting.
For sure.
But it's like that's what is hilarious is it's a personal thing.
Because some of the best people I've ever known in my life are members.
Yeah.
So it's like
That's a pretty small pool though, because pretty much everybody you know in your life is a
no.
member. How many frigging people do you associate with that are not
Well, but you
members of
have
the
the way
church?
you're saying it is like right now, currently in my life, I don't associate with anybody. So that, but I'm saying like growing up, all of my friends. Well, so like when I first like my friends in like elementary school, yes, we all were members of. But like once I got to high school, I didn't hang out with anybody who was a member. Like,
How far did that get you? I'm
what do
just
you mean?
totally messing with
I was like, what do you mean? So it's like, yeah. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I don't know either. It's getting late.
I'm so delirious. I don't know why. Must have just been that I had to wake up at a different time last night, and so I just feel very tired today.
Well, we hope that was entertaining.
Did you say everything you were thinking about?
Yeah,
before?
it's just kind of like that's the most important.
Binley Ann is awake. Binley! Well, guys, that is our cue to go.
It's been real. It's been fun, but it hasn't been real fun.
Please ask more questions. This has been great to have questions to answer.
This probably was more of the the fun ones.
Yeah.
This was way, way better than last night.
Okay, I love you.
I'm not gonna have to ask you to like hide my guns and shit.
What?
Nothing.
I love you.
Love
Goodbye.
you too. Bye.